Thank you, Julia, for that gracious introduction. Good afternoon, members of the HBS community, parents, family, friends, and most importantly, the Harvard Business School class of 2016. Thank you, Marcelli, for your inspiring gift to all of us. Pedro's spirit lives on through you, through this class. Today, I'd like to share with you two personal life stories that frame what I call the question. My hope is to prompt reflection and perhaps in some modest way be helpful to a few of you. In preparing my remarks, I had an opportunity to review a number of your resumes. You are an amazingly talented and accomplished group. I could learn so much from all of you. But your resumes are incomplete. All resumes are like that. They have an inherently up and to the right characteristic, a constant piling on of ever more impressive accomplishments like graduating from Harvard Business School. A well-crafted resume can make individual achievements look so flawless, so linear, so inexorable. Maybe that's actually been true for some of you, but I kind of doubt it. All resumes have a backside, if you will, and that backside is the real you all in. Your dreams, your struggles, your love, your fears, your failures, your shortcomings, anxieties, the health of your relationships with your spouse, family, friends, with one another, your spiritual and physical self. The front of your resume is the dressed up public you, customized for employers. The backside is the private you, the comprehensive you, the often hidden and occasionally ignored you. My own resume, for example, fails to mention that my dad worked in a manufacturing plant, and that when I graduated from UC Davis, my first full-time job was as a bus driver. This was after I opted not to pursue an enticing opportunity in the Kmart management training program. My resume does note my time as a field engineer in Arzew, Algeria, but it does not describe my incredible anxiety about being utterly unqualified for the job. The fact is, I dropped out of my engineering major at UC Davis, and my prior international experience had been 4 hours in Tijuana, Mexico with my family. My resume proudly proclaims that I graduated from HBS in 1980. It most certainly omits my deep concern, my feeling of inadequacy, that I might possibly fail at HBS. Especially stressful because I was using my entire life savings to pay for this education. To this day, I am convinced that the only reason I was accepted by admissions is they thought I was Algerian. And it turns out resumes, applications from North Africa were down that year. Now, the front side of my resume also disregards a profound truth. That HBS experience opened my young eyes to a world of possibilities which I could not previously have imagined. HBS gave me confidence that maybe, just maybe, I could do a little bit something special with my one and only life. Which brings me to my two stories, both of which are from the backside of my resume and involve intense personal struggles. My first story is about a dumb decision. It involves Bain Company. I indeed joined Bain in 1980 out of business school with the intention of staying for 2 years. Just 2 years. I saw Bain as a sort of finishing school where I would work hard, learn a lot, build my resume. I loved the people, the entrepreneurial culture, the meritocracy, the pragmatic focus on results. Bain probably had 100 employees at the time. It was so intensely private that we were forbidden to discuss our clients with anyone, including family members. Fortune magazine referred to Bain as the KGB of consulting and too hot to handle, both of which we took as compliments. A decade later, I was still at Bain and still planning to leave within 2 years. I was an energized, rather rambunctious young partner managing Bain's San Francisco office, truly enjoying myself. From my space on the 34th floor of Embarcadero Center, I could look across the bay and actually could see the Colgate-Palmolive factory where my dad worked his entire career. Apparently, I'd arrived. But things were not as they seemed. In reality, Bain was facing a devastating crisis that would turn my little world upside down. Bain's problems were largely self-inflicted. A debt-laden financial structure, highly controlled decision-making, inadequate succession planning had culminated in a downward spiral. There had been painful layoffs, a restructuring, cost-cutting. Bain stumbled along until Mitt Romney courageously left his role leading Bain Capital, our sister company, and stepped in to restructure the firm. By 1991, the financial engineering was largely complete, and a new partnership was formed. Yet, the downward momentum persisted, and the remaining debt payments loomed large, very large, in the years ahead. The entire crisis had caught me flat-footed and unprepared, like being blindsided in an intersection by a drunk driver. I felt confused. I felt trapped. Do I forge ahead or accelerate my exit plan? I loved the company and had deep commitment to my colleagues. And my leadership ideals encouraged me to soldier on. On the other hand, I'd never imagined being a career consultant, and I certainly didn't want to spend years of my life trying to help resuscitate what looked like a dying business. We had a young son, another on the way, a mortgage, bills to pay, and my career aspirations extended beyond Bain, beyond consulting. I dreamed of being a dynamic corporate chief executive, maybe starting a company out in Silicon Valley, more resume building. I finally concluded that I simply could not, in good faith, leave my post during a time of crisis. But when Bain stabilized, as soon as I could look myself in the mirror and say I'd done my duty to the best of my abilities, I would exit to pursue other opportunities. The moment the time was right, I was going to move on. And then, in another entirely unexpected and shocking turn of events, I was asked to run the firm, to re-up big time, to take over for Mitt as he transitioned back to Bain Capital. This was one future scenario I had not anticipated. I was 38 years old. What should I do? What should I do? The smart answer, from a rational point of view, seemed inescapable. I should respectfully decline. I did not want to uproot my family, to leave my beloved California and move to Boston, leave my parents, my extended family, my childhood home, my lifelong friends. I had no intention of remaining in the consulting industry. I had zero turnaround experience. I'd never run anything beyond a single Bain office. And many of my partners were understandably and loudly critical of my qualifications. If financial trends continued, Bain was almost certainly in a death spiral. talent leaving, clients defecting, new business drying up, cost cutting, cost cutting. A highly respected investment banker told us that he believed the firm had less than a 5% chance of surviving. 5%. So much for my up and to the right career. If Bain clapped on my watch, I would be held accountable for a historic, headline-grabbing failure. I could visualize the quotes. Quote, Tierney tried really hard, but at the end of the day, he just wasn't the right person for the job. It made no sense, absolutely no sense for me to double down on Bain Company. But ultimately, I made the dumb decision. I said yes. To this day, I'm not sure why. Was it the challenge? Was it my ego? Was it naive confidence? Was it a sense of duty? It was certainly instinct overriding logic. In any case, I became president of Bain and subsequently managing partner. My family did relocate from California to Boston, and I put my shoulder to the wheel. And then things got worse. Revenue continued to decline. Turnover accelerated. Cash flow dwindled to very, very dangerous levels. It was hard. And through that turmoil, a single image kept me grounded and motivated. I imagined a day in the future, sitting down with my two sons, having to explain that, yes, your dad ran a company called Bain Company. Doesn't exist anymore. No way. No way. Dumb decision or not, I promised myself I would not give up. Now, business stories often have unhappy endings. But in this case, the new Bain partnership rallied, and after a few years, our turnaround became turbocharged. A minor business miracle and a testament to the strength of Bain's core culture and capabilities. Bain once again became a fast-growth, prosperous, high-impact firm and a fabulous place to work. Today, 2 decades later, the firm is dramatically stronger because of that crucible. Now, although I'll never know the path not taken, it seems my dumb decision turned out okay. Mostly because I was surrounded by amazingly talented people. When I stepped down in 2000, the debt was paid off. My successor was well positioned to succeed. What did I learn from this struggle? How did it add to the backside of my resume? First of all, the biggest events of life are often unpredictable and uncontrollable. The best you can do is keep a clear mind and a steady hand. Try to do the right thing, whatever that means for you, despite the odds. Secondly, and this was a tough one for me, it's not about me. It's natural for ambitious and competitive people who want to succeed to view big decisions as vehicles for their own objectives, for their resumes, so to speak. Yet struggling with the decision to double down on Bain ultimately led me to understand that my job was not to help me. It was to truly help other people, our partnership to succeed. I could bring strength and fierce resolve to every interaction, but my purpose was to serve in pursuit of meaningful goals. Team goals, organizational goals, ambitions that extended beyond my personal horizons. It's not about me. The third lesson, it is far more important to build a life than a resume. We are defined not just by our accomplishments, but by our commitments. Over time, our commitments, both professional and personal, become our life's purpose. My commitment to lead Bain was ultimately a decision about the kind of life I wanted to lead, the kind of person I wanted to be. Which brings me to my second story, and another dumb decision. For as long as I can remember, I've had a desire to make a difference in the world. As much as I loved business and loved Bain, I felt pulled toward public service, an interest which manifested itself early on in my Bain years through a range of pro bono projects and volunteering and serving on nonprofit boards. I learned a lot about the social sector and how to be helpful. I even imagined myself launching a Make a Difference company, although I had no earthly idea what that might be. The phrase social entrepreneur had not yet been invented. Even during the most intense, the most brutal periods of the Bain turnaround, I could not shake my attraction to the social sector. After a few years, the firm's resumed growth and profitability, I began analyzing social sector trends and brainstorming possibilities. My thought partner and ultimate co-founder was Jeff Braddock, a Bain alum from my San Francisco days and associate professor here at HBS. We had no clear goals, but we shared a passion for social impact in the nonprofit space. Our quiet little collaboration ultimately gave birth to the business plan for the Bridgespan Group. In late 1999, my vague notion of this Make a Difference company became a reality. Bain's worldwide organization received 2 communications, both surprises. One message described the launch of Bridgespan. The other said I was stepping down after 8 years as chief executive. After deep, deep personal reflection, I finally decided to say goodbye to my 2,200 Bain colleagues, my leadership role, prestige, the compensation, to say goodbye to that, to help start a 4-person, unproven, nonprofit organization, to do so as non-executive chairman, working full-time, earning $1 a year. I was 45 years old, in my prime. None of this was rational, especially after all the pain of rebuilding Bain. My career repotting was an unnatural act, but to me it just made all the sense in the world. Grammar aside, I could not do this. It was about building the life I wanted, not about building my resume. Bridgespan was designed to help nonprofit organizations and philanthropists achieve breakthrough results, while at the same time developing ideas of applied knowledge that could be useful broadly across the social sector. Bridgespan's combination consulting firm, and research institution, teaching vehicle, a nonprofit itself, Bridgespan serves leaders, NGOs, causes that would not typically have access to premium professional services customized to their needs. Pursues impact, not profit. Bridgespan was incubated at Bain and then spun out, much like we did with Bain Capital 15 years previously. It made so much sense to me. But most people thought I should have my head examined. Many of my colleagues referred to my retirement as if I would be pursuing some sort of hobby like golf or fly fishing. 2 Bain partners, close friends, privately came into my office, shut the door, and asked me if my health was okay. Why else would I quit? It was the height of the dot-com boom. And I actually had a headhunter call me an idiot. He might have actually called me a stupid idiot, because I wouldn't consider moving back to California to run an internet company, which, by the way, later crashed. A wealthy private equity investor asked me how much equity I was getting in Bridgespan. When I explained to him that nonprofits don't actually have equity, he walked away perplexed. Seasoned executives told me, earn money now, save the do-good stuff for later. I was destroying my resume. What a dumb move. This intense negative blowback rattled me, really rattled me. It stopped me in my tracks. Perhaps I should pursue another big job, earn big money, put my social sector plans on hold. Perhaps this time I really was making a dumb decision, my heart overriding my brain. Thank goodness my family came to my rescue. my wife, Karen. We're married 32 years this year. She urged me, said, follow your dreams. Follow your passion. Live the life you were meant to live. Everything's going to work out. You'll be a better father for our wonderful sons. Colin and Braden matter a million times more to me than my career. My loving family kept me grounded, clear-minded. A cadre of exceptionally wise individuals, beginning with John Gardner, counseled me that at the end of one's days, nothing matters more than family, friends, and whatever little bit you've been able to do to make the world a better place. Social sector leaders, including Bridgespan's caring donors, embraced me. All these people gave me courage. Churchill famously said that fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. I decided to dive in, all in. I've never looked back. Fast forward to today. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I'm able to collaborate with incredible social sector leaders, outstanding philanthropists, amazing colleagues, all with the ambition to help make our world a better place. What a gift. What a blessing. What did I learn from this second struggle? Once again, life is unpredictable. Life is uncontrollable. Real success is not about me. It's far more rewarding to build a life than a resume. Life is much grander, much more significant. Resumes capture what we are paid to do, but by far the most essential and fulfilling dimensions of our life do not come with a paycheck. I now deeply appreciate the personal fulfillment, the energizing passion, the soulful satisfaction of serving others, of dedicating oneself to meaningful causes, no matter what sector or situation. All of us are different. We encounter different challenges, different opportunities along our life's journey. We're conditioned to pursue this up and to the right path to build a resume. Organizations develop us to be on track to the next promotion, on track to the next great assignment, on track to the big bonus. But whose track are we on, really? Is it our track or someone else's track? Do we like where the track is leading us? Do we even know where the track is leading us? Which brings me to my final remarks and the question. Einstein asserted that questions are more important than answers. When I was younger, especially being a strategy consultant, I concentrated heavily on the answers. Now I spend most of my time on the questions. So I have the question for you. I call it the question because it's so all-encompassing. It's the one we cannot ignore, not for long, cannot escape. It's a question that sooner or later defines us. Here it is. What is success in life? What is success in your life? Both sides of your resume, all in. Not just narrowly defined success based on what you are paid to do. What about success in marriage? Success with family? Success in friendships? Contributions to society? What you give back? Your humanity? Your physical and spiritual and emotional health? Success has no formula. But if you ignore the question or push it off until tomorrow, if you fall victim to inertia, to others' expectations, to the endless pursuit of more, to up and to the right at all cost, you will underperform your destiny. You may look great on paper, but you won't look great in life. As you confront the question, you'll struggle with impossible trade-offs, complicated decisions. But you will inevitably make thoughtful choices, intentional choices about what you do and don't do, about how you spend your precious time. The compounding effect of those choices over time will become your special, one-of-a-kind life. Today, assembled here together, these life adventures and a range of unforeseen decisions await all of you just over the horizon. How incredibly exciting, how wonderful. HBS is a phenomenal launching pad. In fact, I know exactly what I was thinking when I was sitting on that launching pad some 36 years ago. I know that because since my time in Algeria, I've kept a journal. It's now probably 2,500, maybe 3,000 pages long. The stories I've shared with you here today are not just spotty memories. They reflect countless journal entries spanning my fears, struggles at Bain Company to my dream of a, quote, make a difference company. One observation I'd make looking through those pages, all kinds of things could have turned out differently. I've been very lucky. But you know what's even more amazing? During all these decades, I've pretty much been myself. It turns out I am who I am. And as long as I stayed true to who I am, as long as I tried to live my life my way, things seem to more or less work out. The same will be true for you. Reminds me of that Oscar Wilde quote, "Be yourself. Everybody else is taken." Let me conclude with a brief Tom Tierney journal entry, age 26, a few weeks before graduating from HBS. Quote, "Harvard is transforming me into a fast-track type. I have retained my identity and my grassroots values, but I can see that this education and my talent for leadership will catapult me to new horizons. HBS has opened my eyes to my own potential, thereby magnifying my ambitions. I now realize that to accomplish any sort of meaningful social change, I must embark upon the fast-track path. But I must be careful to remain grounded in my beliefs of equality and social justice. You are an extraordinary class, a community of extraordinary individuals with more potential in life than you may fully imagine. May each of you succeed in your own special life, keeping your eye on both sides of your resume and being true to who you really are. Thank you very much.